So, David, for someone who has no idea about this, the end of money or the end of cash, three things that you don't like about money or cash.
Number one is that it's filthy. There are not many things in your life other than banknotes and coins that if you saw this object in a filthy gutter somewhere, you are going to lean over and pick it up. And not only that, you will put it in your wallet next to photos of your children and your gym membership card and assign to it this sense of ownership because you just picked up this thing out of the gutter, which meanwhile, of course, is covered with all kinds of unwelcome nasties and bacteria and cocaine residue. So cash is filthy. That's number one. Number two, cash is much more expensive than it appears. Of course, if you have a mountain of cash, you are well off. And of course, cash is kind of fast and kind of efficient and kind of easy when it comes to transacting with it. But that's sort of at the immediate level, what's in your wallet right there at the restaurant. When you start to look at the wider costs of cash, maintaining it in the economy, getting it to banks and ATMs and cash registers in rural Wyoming, the costs start to add up. And then you start to look at cash as the currency of crime. Pretty much every crime, but especially tax evasion. Now the costs start to become colossal. You know, we're looking at cash management alone. This is getting the cash out there, babysitting it, counting it, transporting it. It's like $150 billion a year, about 3 times the budget of the Department of Education. Then you look at tax evasion. You know, we're looking at $400 to $500 billion a year of revenue not collected by the government from people who, the gap between what we owe and what we pay. Now, some of that is not cash-enabled evasion, but a lot of it is. You know, so these costs really start to add up.
Counterfeiting.
Counterfeiting. This is one of my my favorite trades, and actually, I'm not sure this will be suitable for your interview, but about a week after your piece will air, I have a feature coming out in Wired about a German guy who's a counterfeiter who manufactured at least $20 million in fake US $100 bills. And he's this wonderful character study of a guy because he loved Warhol, you know, and this artist's thinking about mass production and mass production of valuable paper. And even Warhol took banknotes as a subject of his artwork. So this printer and artist in Germany, he loved Warhol, but he could never be like a brilliant artist. But in fact, he was a fantastic craftsman when it came to counterfeiting paper money. So counterfeiters, of course, if you do away with cash or even just the high denomination notes, they are put out of business right away. You know, one Secret Service agent told me that 90% of their workload is chasing around knuckleheads who get the idea late at night to bleach a 5 and reprint on that same paper the image of a $20 bill. You can't buy much of anything with that money before someone spots it and it's pulled from circulation. I think people understand the value of electronic money in their everyday lives without even thinking of it. That's the thing. We haven't made a deliberate choice to engage in the electronic money proposition. It just happens. You have a bank account. You probably get paid by an auto deposit if you're lucky enough to have a job. And you probably pay your mortgage or your rent and your car insurance and your dentist. All of these things are through electronic means of transaction. You know, credit and debit cards are a form of electronic money, but it's not the corollary necessarily to cash. This is not a kind of shilling for the credit card companies. But you know, without ever thinking about it, that electronic money is safer and more cost-effective for you than holding your wealth in a mattress under your bed at home or going to pay your mortgage with a briefcase full of cash every month. That's crazy. You would never do that because there's time, there's risk, you know, in the economic sense of it, and actually in the literal sense of it, walking with your briefcase down to a bank.